Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, the two Giant Goofballs, New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's talk about the O-line.
What are you doing? Trying to get O'Reilly's as a sponsor? Because if they were interested, they could merely just email us at twogiantgoofballs@mail.com.
Please do, O'Reilly's.
Actually, it might be a conflict of interest in my job. I don't know. I don't know. We don't get parts anyway, so whatever. So, anyway, so today, guys, we're going to break down the offensive line, the most aggravating group of the last, 5-6 years there. I think it's safe to say at least 5-6 years. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably been an issue basis since when we won our last Super Bowl. Coincidence? I think not.
Ooh.
We've gone from signing guys to drafting guys to signing guys to drafting guys, and nothing seems to work. It's like we're O-line cursed. It really is. So
you know it.
This year,
blame your O-line.
This year it's interesting because we have a lot of high draft pick guys. We got first round picks. We got a bunch of third round picks. We got a second round pick. We got guys that are a lot of draft, value here, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't know if I want to say value because it's not really been a value pick for us yet, but there's a lot of draft stock in this room, I guess.
Yeah, capital, if you will. Yeah,
there we go. Capital. That's the word I'm looking for. Capital idea, good sir.
Yeah. Really good. Let's go bet on the stock market.
But what they did this year is they said, screw it. We're not drafting very well at this position. Let's go get a bunch of guys. And they got a whole bunch of guys. They literally did a whole bunch of guys. This line has probably the best depth it's had in years, at the very least. At the very least, if it doesn't work out, next man up is just as bad.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but that honestly is worst case scenario. Whereas the last couple of years we get one guy gone, two guys gone, three guys gone. Next year we're getting Justin Pugh off the couch.
Pew.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Now we have depth. Now we have guys. Yes. And as Bill Hartnett already said here in the comments, Carmen Brasillo is our best free agent signing. He's not wrong, guys. Because if you think about it, the biggest free agent signing we really had is probably Jon Runyan. We'll talk about him in a little bit here, because of the fact that Brian Burns was a trade acquisition, not technically a free agent. So we end up doing a huge upgrade at the offensive line position. And you got to hope now that having an offensive line coach that has a track record of success at places like New England, Las Vegas, now can go ahead and get this bumbling group of young lads here who've just underperformed left and right and get them to at least be an average player. I'm not looking for craziness here. I'm looking for average. That sounds horrible, but that's what I'm looking for, guys, because that's a huge improvement of where we were. And
very, very.
Now you throw in the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When you go from ranked about 30 in the NFL to 15, that's a big jump.
It is. And then you throw in the fact that we got a whole bunch of veterans now. And don't get me wrong, none of the veterans guys are like Pro Bowl caliber, all pro caliber, game changers kind of guys. But they're all guys who have started elsewhere. That's a key thing. We're not getting guys who haven't played in 3 years. We're not getting guys off the streets that are undrafted rookie free agents. So we did get a couple, obviously. We talked about them already previously. But we're getting guys that are legit, like, here, I have 40 starts under my belt. Hey, I started for 2 different teams. Hey, I was a swing tackle, and I got 30 starts. That's legit NFL talent you got now.
Correct.
You couldn't say that the last couple of years. Gone are the days of Shane Lemieux coming back from injury only to get hurt the next time he plays.
Not to be out for a little bit. And
yeah, that's what he did. Yeah. Gone are the days of Matt Pert having trouble blocking a cornerback. Like, these days are over. Now, how much better are these next few days now? I don't know. We're going to find out here. Let's be honest. I want to be optimistic, but I don't want to be too optimistic because let's be very frank. We've been optimistic about this line before. And it didn't work out. Yeah. Nate Solder was the greatest signing for us, apparently. We knew we overpaid up front, but we overpaid because we needed him. How did that work out?
Move.
Yeah. Evan Neal was the can't miss tackle prospect that year. How did that work out? So on paper, this is we got some nice stuff here. So let's hope that the paper turns into video and the video turns into wins. Because that's what we need here. So we did a little different, guys. I thought this would be a fun way of changing this up today because we're talking about tackles, guards, centers. We're talking about basically, 3 different positions. 5 of the guys will be starters on this team. We arranged these guys instead of by position. We arranged them by their PFF grade last year. That's not to say PFF is the end-all be-all. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was kind of interesting to see how the list comes out. So, who do you think, guys, is before you've watched this thing, if you're not watching live or if you're watching live with us right now, who do you think is going to be on top? And who do you think is going to be at the bottom?
Yeah. Put it
and
in
if somebody says, Johnny Tapp, you're in trouble. So, but yeah, like I said, I got to say, when we did it that way, it was kind of interesting because some of the guys you thought would be higher weren't, and some of the guys you thought would be lower weren't necessarily as low as you thought. And then a couple of the guys you go, these probably gonna be crap, and yeah, they were crap, guys. They were poop. So let's get right into it. First up, we got to talk about the guy who is the least poop. There should be like a trophy like that, like a big golden poop. Like you are the least.
Put it on a big old pedestal.
And it's the one guy you can say is a stud on this offensive line. And that's Andrew Thomas, who, quite frankly, is one of the most underrated players in the NFL outside of the Giant circles. Because I still think this man doesn't get enough credit for what he does because of what he does it with. Look at all the players that have played left guard next to him. Look at how bad this offensive line has been for how long. And yet this man has played now the last few seasons at a very high level. And he's done it without complaining, without any public issues. And I'm not suggesting he should complain, but I don't know if I was in his shoes, I'd be mature enough not to.
I mean, that's true professional.
It's got to get frustrating.
It does.
Imagine every week you go to work and there's another guy next to you, but that guy helps and affects what you do as well.
And you have to bring them up.
And he sucks.
Correct.
That's basically what he deals with. Andrew Thomas, though, 6'5", 315 pounds, still just 25 years old, guys. There's guys who are drafted this year that are just as young as he is. That's the scary part. Obviously, he's our left tackle, 76.1 PFF grade. And let's be very frank in saying that's lower than what it should be because of the injuries he had. He was a little off last year because of the injuries. That's safe to say. I am very curious if they can get whoever they get at the left guard position. And we'll find out who that is, as the year progresses. I think that's one of the big camp battles here is that left guard position. But whoever they put next to him, if they're even an average player, and he's fully healthy, this could be his coming out party NFL-wide, where he comes out as the best, if not second best, maybe to Trent Williams, because that guy's just a freaking beast.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Offensive lineman, not just tackle, offensive lineman, because of where he plays left tackle in the entire NFL. He's that good if he's healthy and he's got a good guy next to him. So this could be that year. And I'm telling you right now, guys, we will be very, very, very happy that we've already signed him to a long-term extension if that happens. Because that just means the price would go up. The price would go up.
Especially with these new contracts.
Yeah, $50 million probably next. But yeah, he's going to be a long-term Giant, guys. I love that. I want to give this guy some help. I really do. I feel bad for the man because he's just been so good, like I said, and he's played next to poop.
Constant poop. It's like
Poop.
he's looks like he works for the sanitary office of New York.
Yeah.
Sanitation, I should say.
It's like a proctologist over here.
Yeah.
Surrounded by poop all day.
Yeah. He's deep in poop.
Yeah. But yes. We can't be appreciative enough of everything Andrew Thomas does though on the Giants though, because that guy busts his butt. True professional. Can't say enough good things about the man. I really hope what I said a minute ago is what comes to true. They get a good left tackle next. Left guard. A solid left guard next to him. Andrew Thomas is healthy. And all of a sudden, the NFL gets to see what kind of player he really is. Because I don't think they've seen his best yet.
It's hard to see if that's when you're always in an upward fight.
Seriously. So, alrighty. Next up. So you guys think it's going to be the second highest grade. And that is Jermaine Eluemunor. We talked about this guy from day one when the New York Giants got Brasillo as their offensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
Day one. Everybody else jumped onto that boat as soon as we did, but day one we were on that. Like that night, we looked at the available people that are coming from the Raiders. Here you got a guy who was born in London, actually, but he's was raised in Jersey. And so he's a Jersey boy through and through. So you got a local guy. He played with Brasillo in New England. Played with him in Vegas. So obviously he likes working with him. He likes his system. And he had a really decent year last year. So he's 6'4", 330 pounds, 29 years old, 68.5 was his PFF grade. By the way, if that makes you sad that I want to mention one person so far and we're already down in the 60s, yes, you should be a little sad about that.
I was going to say it's going to get a lot worse.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot worse. Trust me.
Yeah.
This is actually a really good PFF grade for them. He has literally played every single position, guys, on the offensive line except center. You know what? You get these lunch pail guys, these Nick Gates kind of guys, these, people that just move around the offensive line, just play good. This is what we got. He's never going to be a Pro Bowler. He's never going to be this big money guy. He's never going to be that. He's going to be a solid player wherever they put him, though. And there's a huge value in that, especially with a team that's had injury issues up and down this offensive line since the dawn of time. So, last 2 seasons, he started at right tackle. Those of you guys who watch the show or listen to the show on a regular basis will know what we think of our current right tackle. So, not very highly. This is be a huge upgrade at the right tackle position for us. So, I'm really hoping that's what happens overall. Unless Evan Neal all of a sudden something happens to Brasillo and he gets him going. But Evan Neal still is on our poop list for that flipping burgers comment.
Poop.
We mentioned poop a lot of this episode. So
yeah.
You're like, yeah, we have. You're right. It's like nonchalant. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is a guy who'd be a huge upgrade at the right tackle position. If he doesn't play right tackle, he's going to go right into that battle at the left guard. I'm telling you right now. And he probably would win. He's that good. But first time there's an injury, guess who's going outside of the tackle position in that scenario again? Eluemunor. He'll be the swing tackle. He'll be the starting left guard in that case. It's a guy I think very highly of as far as a player there. And I'm very, very curious to see what he does there. Next up. Austin Schlottmann, former Viking. So 6'6". He's really tall, guys, for us. A guy who plays interior offensive line and specifically center last year. 6'6", 300 pounds. think he holds the Guinness World Record for tallest center in the NFL. I'm kidding.
Maybe.
It's just that it really is. If those guys don't notice the typical metrics at that point there, that's the height of a tackle. Like tackles are typically that 6'3" and up kind of range at that point. You know, your guards would be usually around 6'2" to 6'4". You know, your centers usually like 6'1", 6'2". Like they're not big, tall guys because it makes it harder for the quarterback to see over them at that point. He wants a clear view of the field. Imagine a guy like Bryce Young getting snapped from this guy.
He'd be looking underneath his legs.
Why does the ball keep getting batted down by our own center?
Yeah, because he's hitting the balls and then it's someone else.
But like I said, he played center last year. He's played also both guard spots, though. He's pure interior offensive line help. Had a 62.6 PFF grade there last year. So it's a guy that, again, at the worst case scenario, he's going to be a good depth piece. The best case scenario for him is he's a guy who's going to go ahead and become a starting left guard, maybe. Because that's the one position I feel like is really up for grabs. But if, let's say, a certain young center that we'll talk about in a little bit happens to go ahead and struggle, guess who's going to be breathing down his neck? This man right here, Schlottmann. You don't want Schlottmann down your neck.
Oh, there's a lot
of Schlottmann.
Yeah. You're picking a
cool
Schlottmann
really
next to the hoop.
Yep. But they must have loved in Minnesota too. There's a lot of that's like a Minnesota name. It really is.
It really is.
Right? Like it's like that's not a Minnesota name. I don't know what is. But yeah, I mean, overall, the guy has played in 67 games. He's had 14 starts overall. 2 seasons in Minnesota, 3 seasons in Denver. So it's not just that he's played and he's moved around team to team to team. He's been in a couple of places for a couple of years there. He's gotten the chance to start at both places there. So, but he has been a primary backup. So is it realistic to expect him to be a starter here with the Giants? Probably not, unless something goes wrong for us. But is he going to be a good backup in case someone gets hurt like they do every year? Yes. Even a team that's healthier, a healthy-ish team, let's say healthy-ish, they have a couple of injuries every year. That happens, guys.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who can step in and play. So, like I said, it's a good signing. It was like a zero-risk move at that point. I like it. I'm all for it. I'm here. I'm here for it, man. That's where I'm at. So, we got another guy to go over who, is a guy that I'm a little shocked how high he is actually on this list.
A little bit.
To be honest with you. He's when I was doing my list of let's put the order and then I'll reorder it as I go. Yeah, he was definitely not very high up there. But yeah, he earned his spot. He earned his keep, so to speak, there. And unfortunately, I don't have a picture for him because I thought I made one, but apparently I didn't. I can't seem to find it here, guys. But it's Jimmy Morrissey, sorry.
Morrissey.
Not to be confused with the Doors.
Yeah.
6'3".
Come on, baby, pronounce my name right.
303 pounds.
Trying to block this defensive line.
25 years old, turns 26 though next month in June. There, he's primarily a center. He played 1 game last year with the Texans, literally just 3 snaps. So he ended up getting a 60.1 PFF grade, guys, in 3 snaps. I'm kind of shocked they even gave him a grade. I was a little taken aback by that one. Yeah, that's not the typical PFF thing to do. That's for damn sure. But yeah, they gave him a grade. That's where he ends up at this point. He had 14 games that he's played in for his career with 4 career starts, all of them with the Texans. So, yeah, again, not a guy that you want to sit there and say is probably going to even make the roster necessarily. But you're going to give him a shot. But, you look at the roster for the Texans, they've had offensive line issues themselves. So the fact that he can't get, to be in that position to start and stuff like that there on that team doesn't make me very optimistic. And I found the picture, by the way. There he is. There's Jimmy.
There he is.
There's Jimmy. That's using the dipstick, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
But
down deep line.
Like I said, you bring him in, you see what he's got at that point. He's got a little bit of experience at that point there. Obviously, they watched the tape and they saw some potential in him potentially there. Worst case scenario, he's a camp body. And he's still young. Maybe put him on the practice squad if you have to. Not a guy that I expect make the roster though. But I've been wrong before. We've all been wrong before because once you get guys into camp, especially on the offensive line, people gel differently. They mold into spots at that point there. You just never know.
Correct. I mean, also that kind of move, picking this guy up is, we've now talked about two centers.
Yeah.
That can move around.
Listen, you got to wonder when that kind of thing happens. Is JMS on a short leash? Because he didn't have we haven't talked about it yet, which just tells you.
Yeah, maybe. But also, what was the problem since Dable came here? He's had, maybe two centers? Legit centers?
He really hasn't had a lot of them. He really hasn't had a lot. Like, we're putting Ben Bredesen last year at center.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You got to bail us out. Snap the ball.
I know you've done this 3 times in your life, but
yes,
here you go.
We saw the film. It looked really good in those 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they signed a center with 3 snaps last season. It just felt familiar to them. All right, we got to go over another guy here. So the last few years, we talked about this back in 22. We played the Lions. The Lions have been one of the better lines. Lions have been one of the better lines.
Ooh.
It almost came out weird. It almost came out weird.
It's like time to the South
it is. Sally sells she sells by the seashore. But the Lions. But yes, anyway.
Lions for Lions forward.
The Detroit team has had one of the better offensive lines in the entire NFL. And we saw, obviously, Penei Sewell just got a huge extension for them. Is now like the top paid tackle in the entire NFL. We went ahead and poached from them. We poached their swing tackle. And that's a smart thing to do in my eyes, because what we did is we went ahead and got a guy that may not be good enough to start for them. But when you have 2 really good tackles, he might be good enough to start for a lot of other people. And he's played well for you when he's gotten the chance to play. You want to talk about the heat is on at the right tackle position. This is the guy right here that also will bring some heat, because he's going to be in that conversation as well, potentially. Matt Nelson, not to be confused with Matt Murdock. And and there he is. Look how tall that guy is. Talk about that guy looks, he's on stilts right now. Scary thinks he's my height, and I say that. I'm such a jerk.
Yeah.
That guy. How is the weather up there? You must play basketball. No, I play football. 6'7", 315 pounds, 28 years old. Had a 58 PFF grade there last year, guys, in 3 games, with 2 of those being starts. For his career, he's got 43 games and 14 starts overall. Again, he's primarily been the backup tackle there for the Detroit Lions there the last 4 seasons. He did finish last year on the IR, which is one thing there, to keep an eye on, because, the Giants just love their injured players. But he's been healthy for most of his career. This is not, you can't just knock a player because you got 1 injury. They're going to have injuries. But yeah, he's like I said, he's an interesting case there, because he's looked decent when he's had the shot, but he's never had a consistent shot. It's kind of like, this is, to me, almost like a dark horse candidate to possibly win that right tackle spot if they do give it up and from Evan Neal. But we'll have to see on that one there, because I think they want to give it to Evan Neal. And if they don't give it to Evan Neal, they probably want to give it to Jermaine Eluemunor. But Eluemunor can play left guard. If he wins left guard, you put Matt Nelson at right tackle. It's better options. That's what I'm saying. There are so many
there's a lot
puzzle jigsaw people. And it's exciting, guys, because we haven't had this in years. Years.
Yeah,
we're signing people off the practice squad the last couple of years to be. We're signing guys off the couch last year.
Legit.
So,
you and the Springos.
All right. We got to go over another guy we signed here. So many guys we've signed. So many guys we've signed. We got Aaron Stinnie, former Buccaneer, obviously, by the picture there. Played also early on for the Tennessee Titans as well. So 6'3", 312 pounds, primarily been a left guard. He's 30 years old now, had a 56.6 PFF grade. Guy's got 31 career games there to his belt, 12 starts. And that's within 5 seasons. So he's got some time there. He's got some experience. He's a guy that I think is probably more likely a depth piece at that point, to be very frank with you guys. He's not the guy I'd be rooting for to win the left guard position.
Correct.
But in the end, what I'm really rooting for is the best goddamn player possible to win that. If that's him,
it doesn't
go
matter.
for it.
You could have the lowest PDF grade, and if you gel with everyone else around you,
you got to be gelling like Magellan over here, guys.
Yeah. So
I'm going out to dinner every night with Andrew Thomas. Going out every night to dinner with Andrew Thomas. I don't care if he's the one who got the big contract. I'm paying. You come with me.
Yeah.
Red Lobster, cheddar biscuits for all. Come on, guys.
Golden Corral, let's go.
Woo! We're going to Mickey
Boys
D's.
up.
$1 menu it is. Who wants McChicken sandwiches? They don't have
make
it
McNugget. Make it McNugget.
Make it rain cinnamon holes from Taco Bell. But yeah, like I said, he's a guy that he's got some experience. He's got some experience in some winning teams. He's got postseason experience too in the Bucs Super Bowl season as well, blocking for Tom Brady. This is a guy that I could see potentially making a little bit of a push for that left guard spot. I just don't think he's going to quite push enough. He's just not going to really push it real good. So I think that what's going to happen in the end, I think what's going to happen in the end is this is a guy that you have as the depth piece. And the thing I got to, point out as we start talking about depth piece starters, all this stuff here, guys, there's some guys that were drafted in the Shane era that might not make the roster. And no, I don't mean Evan Neal. I'm sorry. He's going to make the roster. We got to pay him.
It's true.
But there's some guys that are going to be on that bubble that are only a couple years in. So let's get into the next guy here. That somber note. We've talked about this guy a little bit here already in passing. But it's the guy that we thought would be a star, rookie for us last year. Jon Michael Schmitz, a.k.a. JMS. Which, am I the only one to hear JMS? Sounds like a name of a boat.
I was thinking like an old school PlayStation game.
Like a schooner of some kind.
Yeah.
I just think that's what a lot of it is. It sounds like every time I hear him, I think a tugboat or something. Kind of a tugboat makes sense for a center. But yeah, I mean, guy comes in, second round draft pick, is expected to do a lot of great things, guys. A lot of great things. Let's be very frank. We were all excited. And you look at it and you go, you got the best center in the draft. He has a really bad rookie season, though. What do you think of him going forward? And I wonder if his health was an issue because, you watch what's going on with him. He was never the same after he got back from his injury. I don't think he was ever fully healthy.
I don't think so. I think he came back too fast trying to prove himself as a rookie on a bad offensive line, and it didn't help anything.
Exactly. He came back way too fast and way too furious. And he Tokyo drifted.
They made another 10 movies.
To a low PFF.
Yeah.
They'll do fast.
What is it? Family.
Next.
Yeah.
But
just as long as you're not drafting from space.
I mean, part of it was, I wanted to have the Giants were in that position because, there was no centers. We talked about it a minute ago. The Giants did not get centers. Ben Bredesen can't really play center. And then he got hurt even too at one point. Like they ran out of centers. He came back. He did what he had to do to help the team. I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that. I am going to say that if he's healthy this year, then it looks like crap that he's going to get a lot of slack from us.
Big time. That's pretty easy to say. Yeah.
But so it's like I give him the minor pass, even though, to have in your rookie season a 41.4 PFF grade, that's not good, guys.
No.
Yeah. That's just really, really not good. As I just realized, by the way, that we skipped some people on the PFF scale.
Yeah, totally did. But I was going to call you out.
We totally did. I'm calling myself out, and it's okay. I call myself out all the time.
I was like, this guy wasn't a homegrown guy last year.
You're all confused as I'm talking about. Like, wait a minute here.
All right, change my notes over here.
This is not at all what happened here. You know what it is? I think when I uploaded all the pictures, because there's so many goddamn offensive linemen, I think it just took some of them out, to be very frank with you guys. We're trying to get you guys some images here. We're trying to get you guys some pictures, but it definitely took some of them out there. So we'll kind of add them in as we're talking here. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy I still have high hopes for. I still think that this is a guy that I can look at and go, you know what? He's still part of the future. He's still a guy that I feel like can go ahead and become what we thought he was going to be. And we all thought very high. I didn't hear one pundit say he's going to fail and fall flat in his ass, which is, to be very frank, what happened last year. I don't mean that in a jerk way, because he was hurt. He wasn't himself 100%. I get all that stuff. But he looked bad, guys.
He showed glimpse of being good, but like we said, soon as John got hurt, he like pretty much lost a step in his game. With on offensive line, you need all the steps you could take.
Yes. Like, we got to be high stepping the entire time, guys.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. We got to be high stepping the whole time, because there's no room for error when you don't have a lot of talent. We talk about it all the time, though, with a lot of players, that it kind of like you go into different categories as far as either being the guy who is very much like the high IQ guy that just kind of wills his way to doing what he's got to do, and the high athletic guy. We kind of didn't have either one last year on a lot of positions.
No.
But JMS was supposed to be that guy that did have both of those traits. And he just didn't have it. So, next year.
Yeah.
This is the year.
Yeah.
JMS.
JMS.
Because we were very high in him coming into draft. So we have like,
that's where we got him.
Yeah, like we have a lot of invested interest in him succeeding now to continue our streak of being right on players. So it's selfish, I know. It is what it is. All right, let's get back in line here where we were. Let's put our thing down, flip and reverse it here as we go to a guy who is one of like I said, I'd call him a bit ago, probably our biggest free agent pickup this year. And I say that partially, very frank, because of dollars and cents. We paid him a lot more money than I thought he'd get on the open market here. But we now have the son of former Eagle, Jon Runyan. Former Packer, guard, Jon Runyan Jr. Here he is, the newest Giant here in this offensive line here. And 6'4", 307 pounds. He's still just 26 years old. Had a 54.7 PFF grade. Played right guard in 23, but played both sides as in 22. And before that in college, he was actually a tackle. They converted him a guard in the NFL at that point. A little T-Rex arm issue going on there. But this is a guy who's a tremendous pass blocker that, quite frankly, is a horrible run blocker. And that's what makes his grade all the way down to 54.7. If you look at his run, his run plays, they're not good. If you look at his pass plays, they're really good. And when you get a guy quick like they did with him, let's be very frank, they got him pretty quick. I have to wonder if the Giants coaching staff saw something when they watched the tape and said, you know what? That's it. That's that one step. That's that one turn. That's that one issue he has. And they think they can fix him. Or they might say, you know what? We can't keep a quarterback on his feet. Let's get the best run blocking guard we can.
Yeah, I mean, both those are very plausible.
They really are. We'd have to be in the room with them to know.
Or they also might have said, we don't have depth at this position, and this is the best guy that's out there right now. Take him. We'll do whatever we have to fix it. Whatever we can, whatever improvement we could do.
He's definitely not going to be, I think, a depth piece, though. I think he's going to start at right guard, and I think that's where his spot is at that point. He was a former 6th-round pick, and the guy is already just way outpaced what we thought at that point he'd be. He's had 1,897 pass block snaps in his entire career. He's allowed 7 sacks. To put that in perspective, Evan Neal has allowed 7 sacks since we started this video.
I was about to say. I think you hear a quarterback in New York getting sacked right now.
Yeah, seriously. Hold on. There he is. Yes, there he goes. There he goes down. But yeah, again, if they can fix some of the issues on the run blocking he has, or at least try to mask some of those deficiencies as best as possible, he's going to be a good player for us. I don't think he's ever going to be a great player. Let me be very frank on that, though, and kind of temper it to a certain degree. What I'm hoping is, and sounds horrible again, but average to above average play.
Yes, listen, we're constantly having guys that are PFF grades in the 40s, 30s. And this guy's coming out here almost 55. It's a big upgrade.
Yeah.
It's not saying much about his play, but it's a big upgrade from what we had.
I will give everybody the fair warning. The lowest PFF grade we got is 26.1.
So he's over double.
That's pretty bad there. But yeah, like I said, Jon Runyan is going to be an interesting guy. I'm curious to see how this develops, because this is one of those things that if they can mask those deficiencies or improve his run blocking, it could be a very good deal for us. If he's a really bad run blocker, though, it could end up looking really bad for us, this contract. Like, this was not a $5 deal, like this was a good contract we gave this guy. And I get it, you got to pay to go ahead and get in the free agency. Like, I'm not saying not to pay, but I question if we overpaid him. I really do. We gave it a 3-year deal at $21.7 million, guys. That's a decent amount of money. And actually, you know what? I'm taking it back here. 3 years, $30 million. 21 is his base salary. So you're basically paying him $10 million a year. And he's a crappy run blocker. It's a little scary. Just a little bit. So, especially because we're moving cap numbers around and everything to help out. He's only got a $6.5 million cap hit next year. So that means we're going to have him for at least 2 of the 3 years. So we'll see what happens with him. Hopefully, I'm over worrying, because I'm not worried about him as a pass pro guy. It's the run block. It's 100% the run block that scares me. So, all right, we got to keep it on moving here, moving down the line.
Trucking along.
Next up,
trucking.
We got Marcus McKethan. Marcus McKethan there, who was one of the 2 North Carolina offensive linemen we drafted in the very first Joe Shane NFL draft he had a couple of seasons ago. 6'7", 335 pounds. He's a big boy. 24 years old. Turns 25 of this month, so he'll be 25 soon. Played both guard and tackle positions there. 45.4 PFF grade. 16 games last season, 5 starts. Obviously had his entire rookie season wiped out because of ACL injury there that happened at I believe it was the fan appreciation practices, actually.
Yes.
That's where it happened. MetLife strikes again. And
Gotcha.
for a guy we drafted very late in the draft, for a guy that basically didn't have a rookie season, that was his rookie season, basically. It's going to sound a little weird because I kind of hated on some of these North Carolina guys. I don't hate on it. I don't hate on it. You know, I look at him and go, okay, we drafted him in the 5th round. You don't have a high expectation of a 5th round guy. He started a few games for us. Didn't look the worst in the world. Didn't look the best in the world. Maybe there's a chance he develops into something. And I think that's, you know, going to be a depth piece, to be honest, is probably the ceiling for him. I don't think a starter material is what he is. But again, if you can get a guy in the 5th round to eventually develop into a, you know, a good depth piece, that's a win.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm actually got a little higher on him this offseason than I was last offseason.
Well, that's because he was.
I didn't have a lot
of play.
No, but it's like last offseason. I'm like, okay, it's a 5th round guy that nobody really talked about, and you know, we already drafted his
ACL.
You know, well, no, ACL didn't happen yet in the offseason. That was later on. Like I said, I just didn't think it was there. I thought, you know, 5th round guy, what's the chances he pans out? Now he's hurt, you know? All right. And then, of course, we have his teammate there, who's been his teammate now since before he got here in the NFL. And that's Josh Ezeudu here, who for some reason does not look like his helmet fits him right in that photo.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't. It just doesn't. But this is the guy that we drafted even higher. I mean, he was a 3rd round pick, 67th pick overall in the 2022 draft. This was one that I thought was an absolute reach when it happened. I was not very happy. I wasn't hating the pick position wise. I didn't like the player that we drafted. I thought he was more of a 4th round pick at that point. 6'4", 308 pounds. Still just 24 years old. Again, guard tackle, 42.4 PFF grade. And this is a guy that, you know, we've talked about before, issues he has, and it is his technique issues. So if I'm going to give something positive in this whole thing with Josh Zupic, because to be honest, it's hard for me to be positive about him. I've seen him for 2 years now. I've seen the same issues with him. I haven't seen really a ton of improvement. If I'm going to give you something positive on him, it's the fact that we have a new coach. We have a new guy who can try to go ahead and fix these technique issues. And if he can fix the technique issues, again, the guy was drafted in the 3rd round for a reason. I may have thought it was a reach, but I do still think that obviously Joe Shane saw something and the scouting team saw something, and they liked him. So that's the case. He's had now 2 years, 16 games overall, 7 starts. Got a little bit of, you know, work under his belt. They maybe fix some of the issues. Maybe he shocks us. But this is a guy who could be on the bubble otherwise. Like I said, we got a lot of guys we've signed this offseason. And a lot of guys with starting experience. So, next up we got... It should have been John Michael Schmitz here, but I
was about to say, it's not JMS. Don't do this again.
Pictures. It's not JMS.
Yeah.
Next up is John Michael Schmitz.
Wait a minute. No. Deja Blue.
Next up is
everyone's favorite.
Neal. Oh, yes. Everybody's favorite. The burger flipper.
Get your spatula out.
Get him out. Flip it over. Welcome to Good Burger. Home with the Good Burger. Take your order. There he is. Evan Neal is probably the most hated Giants outside of Daniel Jones on the roster right now. I think it's a safe statement to stay at this point. Because everybody hates Daniel Jones for some reason. I get it. Yeah. He's not the player you wanted. It's not his fault. He still works hard. You still say, I don't like the player. I don't want to keep him without being a jerk about it. Evan Neal, though, he's talked shit about the fans. Be a jerk about it. You suck, Evan Neal.
Say at least listen, DJ, for everything that people can say about him, he's been nothing but good to the fans.
Exactly. And I get it. Like, it's got to be horrible to be frustrated with how you're playing and had the fans and all the guys like robbing me, the content creators, all the writers talking about how bad you're playing and how they probably need to move on from you. That's got to be frustrating. Like, we talk about it casually. This is their livelihood. This is what they do for a living. This is how they pay their bills. So, but he's got a little more time to pay those bills because you got 2 more years and it's guaranteed money. Time of running out there, Evan. It's time to step it up or you're going to be in trouble.
Because see how it is to flip those burgers.
Didn't see a good second year out of him. Didn't really see improvement. If anything, I say it looked a little worse.
Yeah. It looked like he purposely gave up a couple plays.
It looked like in general. I think it's just frustration got to him, to be honest with you. And I get it, but you got to keep yourself in the right mental state. You got to get it going.
Correct.
And if he can't do it, listen, if you listen to the way Joe Shane's talked about him, Evan Neal is not guaranteed a starting job. He is not guaranteed a starting job. And he shouldn't be, point blank, after the way he's played the last couple of years. I do believe they will start him off as a starter and right tackle. And it's his job to lose. Because let's be frank, they signed him, drafted him as the 7th overall pick in the draft. That's egg in their face if he fails.
Correct.
No one likes egg in their face.
Yeah, but what's even better? Well, no one likes an egg in the face, but what's worse? It's letting the egg dry up on your face, cast size, and you walk around
with you
with it and making yourself look even worse. Or just clean it off. Let's get it done.
Like I said, I'm 100% with you, and that's why they got Jermaine Eluemunor. That's why they got Matt Nelson. That's why they got these guys, is to let these guys go ahead and be there. So if Evan Neal doesn't improve, you got options at right tackle. They have built-in safety nets now. They haven't had that the last couple of years. That tells you they're frustrated with him and they're ready to move on if need be. So, might be the last we see of Evan Neal on the football field. Might be on the sidelines starting soon. He should be. He shouldn't be a starter. Like, he hasn't earned that. If anything, I would point blank sit him down and say, listen, I'm sorry. We appreciate everything you've done, but you've not looked very good. What we want to do is we want to take a step back. We're going to start insert name here that you prefer. We're going to give you the chance to work with Carmen over there. See if we can fix some of these technique issues. We don't want to ruin your confidence any more than it probably already is. We've seen some of your frustrations. Let's work on some of this stuff. Let's get you back in there. The goal is to get you back in. But we got to see you putting the work in. And we got to see you improving to feel comfortable doing that. And that's not an easy conversation to have necessarily.
No. Not at all.
That's the way it should be had, in my opinion.
Especially after the degress, the way he took a backpedal in his play. Like, you kind of have to have the conversation because he might be that guy that needs to be coached like that. He might have to be the one like, listen, we like you, but we gotta sit you. Like, I'm sorry.
It's not me,
you just
it's
gotta
you.
get better. Yeah, you just gotta get better. And he might say, like, oh, well, you should flip burgers too. Or he might be like, oh, I guess I am messing up a little bit more. Maybe try to work harder. Like, what do I have to do? And he's been trying to put the work in. It's just
like I said, I don't dispute that. And we saw with Willie Anderson last offseason, but I can also put the work in to be a great artist. I can't draw or shit.
Let's say Picasso.
No, I can do a Picasso. Looks nothing like what it's supposed to. There you go. It's worth billions. All righty. Next up, we have another newcomer here. Jalen Mayfield. Last season appeared in 3 games, so not a lot of time there, but appeared in three games. 47 snaps, had 2 penalties, had a PFF grade of 26.1.
It's like someone spoiled that.
We'll just say this: 47 snaps, 2 penalties. That's not good. That's it's like 1 penalty per drive.
Wow.
Overall, though, In 22, he was actually the starting left guard for the Falcons. So his biggest issue was pass blocking. He's like the Jon Runyan. Like if they can combine his run blocking with Jon Runyan's pass blocking, he'd be an amazing player. This is how bad it went for him. He had a 48.7 PFF grade in 22, but he was a 27.6 grade as a pass blocker. He allowed 7 sacks in the season, which is tied for the most by any guard. That includes Giants guards, to give you perspective of how bad it was.
Yeah. Brutal.
Like, that's not good. So this is another guy that, again, if you see things you like and you can bring him in for nothing, basically, and he's got some starting experience, he's got, that kind of stuff there going on for him, you can say, you know what? Let's take a shot. He's going to be cheap. He's young. He's not quite 24. He'll be 24 at the end of the season. So again, he's still younger than some of the guys in this draft. 6'5", 320 pounds. He's got good size. Comes from Michigan, which is a pretty good school for offensive linemen. Take the shot. Yeah. This is a low risk, with potential okay reward.
Medium.
I don't want to say high reward. Okay reward.
I was going to go with like a medium-ish reward.
Yeah. Medium rare, please.
Yeah. Perfect.
No. Burger everything should be rare. Rare. Bleeding. Bleed it out, dig it deeper just to throw it away. But yeah, this is, like I said, I like the move. I'm not excited by the player because I have to see him improve to be excited at all. It's a good move. It's a good move. All right.
Yeah.
We got 2 more players to go over. We got to go over Joshua Mills here. Joshua Mills. 6'5", 325 pounds, 28 years old. Plays the guard position. Has not appeared in a single game since 2021. Can we say camp body? It's a camp body. That's what this is here. 17 career games overall without a single start. All those games were in 19 and 21 with the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I mean it's hard to get excited about this guy, guys. He's 28 by now. We would know if he's done good, probably.
Does he last till August?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the scary part, though. He's 28. The last time we saw him play football in the NFL, he was 25. Just trying to give you a little segment now. It's been that long. So, yeah, I'm not really expecting anything out of Joshua Mills, guys. I think
there's like nothing like he's in the CFL or the
no, he's been rugby. He's Gaelic football, maybe. Somebody pointed that out for us there. No, he's let's see what he was
watching football on the couch.
Probably probably that.
Selling cars down in Tampa.
That's exactly it. Selling cars down in Tampa.
Scottsdale.
But no, he did. He was signed originally last season with the Falcons. Made it through their camp and ended up on their practice squad. So, he's been on the practice squad before that with the Cardinals. So, yeah, not much out there. He hasn't done much game wise. But again, you bring in a guy cheap. You brought him. It's a reserve futures contract kind of situation at that point there. So, I'm good with this. I just don't have any. Any positivity towards him. It's a camp body. We had him on our own practice squad last season as well. We signed him there in October. So, we released him in November. And re-signed him to the practice squad. That's the crazy part. They plucked him off of the Falcons practice squad when all the injuries happened. He sat on the roster, never got in a game. And then we put him on our practice squad the second we could, basically. Yeah.
Just in case. Maybe we saw something last year that we really liked.
We had guys coming off the couch. We didn't put him in the game. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, camp body.
Yeah.
When you want a player without a big deal, what are you gonna get?
Camp body.
Camp body.
Should make that into like a Mentos commercial.
Yes. Exactly. So we have one more guy to go over, guys. And I gotta be honest with you guys. I did not look up how to pronounce this gentleman's name. I'll say gentleman because I feel bad about that. But again, can't body. Yodny Cajuste is how I'm assuming it's how you pronounce it. That's how it looks like it would be pronounced. So we're gonna go with that. 6'5", 210 pounds. 310 pounds. 28 years old. Did not appear. I hit that one by accident, but it's kind of fitting.
It works.
It works actually. It's what I get for trying to hit this back on without looking at the buttons I'm pressing here. But yeah, he's did not appear in a single game last year. Played the last 2 seasons prior to that with the Patriots, where he had 17 career games he appeared in, 5 starts. Again, camp body. That's where I'm at. Yeah. You look overall at how many linemen, a 53-man roster has, and these guys aren't going to make it, guys. They're not going to make it, all of them.
Yeah.
So you look at where they're at that point. You're going to keep usually sometimes 10, 11, at that point is what you're going to keep. We just mentioned, see how many we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys. 4 of these guys will probably not make it. On top of that, we have guys coming in that may make it out of the rookie camp and get signed in training camp too.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. See you next year in the practice squad. Training camp.
So, plus, we also have the option of maybe signing somebody in free agency.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes. Dun, dun, dun. So let's look at the options of who we got here. Still out there in free agency land. And let me just say, it's not good, guys. I feel like this is like what we keep on doing every time we do these profiles, these options here. I guess that doesn't look good, guys. It's
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So we got Donovan Smith, the longtime tackle from the Bucs, played last year with the Chiefs. 55.4 PFF grade. We got DJ Humphries. DJ Humphries, 30 years old as well. Also, obviously, tackle, former Cardinal, played there last year, 62.5 PFF grade. Here's an interesting one, though, but he plays left tackle is the problem. But Charles Leno, former Commander, 72.5 PFF grade. And he's 32 years old. He's a little older. That's an interesting name. I'm kind of shocked he's still out there. I wonder if there's something going on medically with him or something. Dalton Reisner. Remember we talked about him last year. We were like begging the Giants to sign him because he got signed like after like week 1 or something like that. He was on. That's how long he was a free agent. Here he is again being a free agent. 28 years old, 57.1 PFF grade last year. Again, for a guy who didn't see training camp or anything like that, didn't even get a playbook until the week he went to go play.
Not too shabby.
I'll give him a little bump that way. Say it's probably more like a mid-60s with knowledge and time there. And it's kind of crazy there. You got Phil Haynes, 28 years old, had a 52 PFF grade there last year. Former Seahawk. Justin Pugh, I gotta mention him. Pugh, I know you're doing.
Oh yeah,
Pew pew
pew pew pew pew pew pew.
He's back on the couch again. We pull him off the couch. 33 years old, guard / tackle. Obviously, he had a 41.6 PFF grade. Let's be very frank. I don't want to yank him off the couch. I just mentioned it because I knew somebody would.
Yeah. I do.
Here's a interesting one. Nick Gates. Nick Gates was a fan favorite. They way overpaid for him. And they cut him loose already. They cut their losses. He's 28 years old still. Obviously, we know he literally can play anywhere on the offensive line. He had a 66.1 PFF grade last season. It's not too shabby. That's the guy I would actually be interested in picking up, guys. If his medicals check out and he's healthy, because obviously we know that horrible leg injury a couple years ago, and he's ready to go, I'd bring him in a heartbeat. Absolutely heartbeat there. There's one other guy that's really intriguing. Connor Williams. Not to pick confused with Connor Wallace. I see you there, Connor.
Yeah.
Center played for the Miami Dolphins. 26 years old. Just turned 27 though next week, so he's just about 27. 86.5 PFF grade, guys. Like, talk about a huge upgrade.
There's a pro and con to this guy, which is
problem is he tore his ACL.
So he's perfect for the Giants.
Yeah, tore his ACL in December on top of that. So he's not going to be coming anytime soon. I think if you start JMS this season, in the first couple weeks he starts to struggle, maybe call Connor up.
Yeah.
You got to figure out the money situation, obviously.
I was going to say, you also have other players that can play center on this team right now. So
yeah, I know that, but I'm saying they're not Connor Williams.
No.
JMS has the potential to be a Connor Williams type. I'm not going to say an 86.5 PFF grade kind of player. That's pretty damn high. But we just drafted him. You got to give him the shot to play. Connor Williams, though. Interesting guy to keep on. Interesting name to keep an eye. And, of course, Nick Gates. Nick Gates. Come on. I'd bring him back in a heartbeat. I really would. I liked him. Nick Gates was a fan favorite. See what he's got.
Yeah.
Can't hurt. He's not going to demand a lot of money. So
hopefully he doesn't break another femur.
Yes, and every other bone.
That
was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad. All right, before we get to the last segment.
I was about to say, no, it's not bad.
Paying the bills.
Enjoying the show. Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
There we go. All right. So, yeah, we got to go over if we're better or not this season. But before we do that, I want to go through some of your guys' comments here. We've got a good amount of comments here starting to come through now. Let's see. Bill says, speaking of injuries, we have a new strength and conditioning guy too. Hope he helps keep the injury bug away. Yeah, that'd be freaking amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm goddamn sick of this. I really am. This is like, how many years in a row have we had this issue now? I'm so tired of every single year having all these injuries. And I get it. Every single team has injuries. I'm not suggesting that that we're the only ones. But yeah, it's excessive. It really is. Timothy, what's up, man? Says, should the Giants trade Basham, 25th first and 4th rounders, and 25th? Oh, hold on. He recorrected himself in the second one. So 25th first and 4th rounders and 26th first, 5th, and 6th rounders to the Colts for Quentin Nelson. No. That's way too much, man. That's way too much. Quentin Nelson is a guy I would freaking love to be a Giant. Combination of the fact he's a damn good player, that he's been a little off last year compared to what he used to be. But he's also a local guy. He's from Homedale, New Jersey. Town right next door to where Rob and I grew up. So,
Real times.
But I mean, the other issue you're going to run into with him is I'm pretty sure he's getting paid a boatload of money. You know, you're going to have to pay that boatload of money. His base salary in 24 is $19 million. You got to find that $19 million now somewhere if you do that. Plus, you're giving away 2 years of first rounders for a guard. Can't do it, man.
Yeah,
I
thank
can't.
you.
I can't. Let's see here. Bill says that actually did happen on the old turf before we replaced it last year. He's talking about the issued Marcus McKethan's ACL tear, by the way. Yeah, it was the old turf, but it's still turf on there. I don't trust turf. Too many issues. Bill also says Rangers are going into overtime for the second game in a row. Wow. Just an FYI. I think Ranger fans probably like to know that. I got to be honest. I don't watch soccer. I can't stand soccer. That's not hockey. Means sorry.
What? The other sport.
I'm tired. Leave me alone. But yeah, I can't stand watching hockey. And part of it is twofold. I didn't grow up with it. I don't fully understand the rules and everything as I'm watching it. I admit that freely. The second thing is looks like, and that's why I said what I said a minute ago. It's frozen soccer with a stick. That's what it is. It's just frozen soccer with a stick. The ball is a little flattened, obviously. Some padding.
It's called the puck.
It's a flat soccer ball as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, Connor says, I missed the show so far yet. I think everything you've been saying is offensive. LOL. Get it? Offensive, strong offensive line. Oh, we get it, Connor. We get it.
We got it.
Connor says, what's the deal getting Alien? I think he means Allen Robinson. Depth? No.
What's the deal?
Guys that can produce. Interesting you mentioned that, Connor. So, yeah, the Giants did sign Allen Robinson, the wide receiver, today. Ironically enough, as we do our wide receiver episode yesterday. We're going to go ahead and do a video on that specifically. Look for that actually to drop on YouTube specifically. That's going to be a YouTube specific thing there. And that'll be popping on probably later on tonight, if not tomorrow morning at the latest there. Let's see. Connor says, I'd rather take on a cheap wide receiver that might be next Cruz, possibly if better than a guy not getting yards and touchdowns. You know, I get where you're coming from there, but you need some veteran leadership. Getting a guy with 7,000 career yards to be a veteran leader that's going to come on a very, very cheap deal. There's some there, you know. There is definitely something there. He says Brasillo should grow hair. I'll be confused. Is that Dable or Brasillo? Listen, you just gotta. We're gonna make them wear name tags. That makes you feel better. You know, we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna have name
Coach's
tags
jerseys
for everybody there. Now, I will say this: their faces look different. If that makes you feel better. You know, it's definitely a different face. One of them also has a lot more salt and a little less pepper. So the beards are also different. Priscilla definitely has a lot more salt and pepper at this point. So, all right, let's talk about sex, baby. Was that them?
Baby, you and
right?
me.
That was that right?
I think so.
Like 35-year-old songs here.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's also like 5 when that song came out.
Yeah. And you know it still.
Yeah.
Even as a child, you were a pervert.
Yeah. 0-100 back in the early 90s.
It made a comeback, though. It was in one of the Deadpool movies, so.
Yeah. Well, it's because it came out the year that Deadpool came out, whatever it was. The first one.
Was it the first one?
It.
I thought it was the second one.
Push it.
I don't know.
Push it real good.
All right, let's get back to the topic at hand.
It was also the Geico commercial, too.
Where the ADD sets in even worse. Offensive line, we got to go over. Are we better or worse than we were last year? And as usual, the pitcher tells you everything you need to know. If in case you're wondering, the man in the front is not Brian Dable, Connor. This is Carmen Brasillo in the front. Behind him, the guy that doesn't wear the hoodie anymore, he now works for the Washington Commanders, Bobby Johnson. And we kind of alluded it to the very beginning of the show here. But that's the reason why I'm excited to see what the line does this year. Bobby Johnson was a hack job of a coach, point blank. And I hate to be like a jerk about it, but he just wasn't good at his job. And I questioned it, absolutely questioned it when we first got him as a coach. Like, why this guy? Like, is he a buddy of Dable's? Is that what's going on here? Does he have like secret nudes when he showered after a game one night? Like, what's going on here? Like, because he just didn't do anything in Buffalo. I'm sorry, but the line was not good in Buffalo. It wasn't.
Yeah.
They were having trouble keeping Josh Allen in the pocket. And that's the biggest issue. Like you mentioned, as far as, it wasn't this bad. That's because they had Josh Allen. He had the mobility. He had the pocket presence. He has things that Daniel Jones just doesn't have. He's a better player. He's able to get the ball out quicker and processing quicker. He's a better player. If you put Daniel Jones in that line, he would have got crushed. And guess what? We did put him in this line, basically. He got crushed. So I think that it's going to be a big jump. I really do. And I think that when you look at it, we talked about Evan Neal, 7th overall pick. Andrew Thomas was what? I think 4th overall pick, was he that year? You got a 2nd round pick in John Michael Schmitz. You got a 3rd round pick in Josh Ezeudu. You got a 5th round pick in Marcus McKethan. Put a lot of capital into this room, and we haven't gotten our gains. I went full on into the investment talk there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We need some ROI. We need some return on our investment here. If not, it's time to cut these players loose. But when you have the consistent fact that you're bringing in player after player with a good pedigree of success in college, with the pundits, coaching staffs all saying, this guy's legit, this guy's going to be good. Eventually, you got to look in the mirror who's coached him and say, what the hell are you doing wrong, dude?
Pretty much.
Evan Neal was considered the top tackle in that draft. JMS was considered the top center in his draft.
And none of them looked anywhere near where they should be.
No. And again, with JMS, somewhat of a pass because we think the injuries were his problem. Evan Neal, though. Evan Neal alone, that how bad as he's played, should be enough to get any offensive line to lose their job, basically. It's pathetic how bad. So I'm excited to see Priscilla when he does. They literally have only had one day one or day 2 pick that the Raiders selected on that line last year. That's it. He made an average line. And again, that's what I'm hoping for here. I want an average line. We have the depth. We have the options. We're going to get this to happen. I really think so. I'm cautiously optimistic about the offensive line. And I'm also cautiously optimistic that Evan Neal is going to make a Whopper sandwich for me at some point this season.
Yeah, you get your way.
Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce. I hope special orders do upset you.
Evan Neal. Let them Whoppers.
Talking trash about the content creators and fans. We're gonna get you. Gonna get you. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of reason for optimism, guys, and like I said, I know that usually I'm the Debbie Downer or Rob's the Debbie Downer. One of us usually is the Debbie Downer. I feel like in a lot of things.
Usually,
we're both optimistic about this line, and I think a lot of it is because we're neither one of us going, this is going to be a top 10 line. Like that's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You just want to hover around that middle spot.
Let's say if you go from literally top 5% in the NFL, that's top bottom 5% of the 5% of lines, and you go to just right in the middle.
Yeah,
that's a huge jump.
Huge.
So
that's what we're hoping for here, guys. Average. We are here rooting for mediocrity. Whoop, whoop.
Listen, we've seen better, but we've seen worse. That's what we want.
Listen, no matter what we see this year, we've seen worse. We're Giants fans. We've seen bad offensive line. All right, guys. So we'll be back again next week for you. Now, this is my last night before I go on my cruise here. So I'm going to be drunk for the next 10 days, basically. So
have one for me.
Yeah, well, I'll have plenty for you every day. Don't worry. I'll have like 3 or 4 drinks for you if you want. That's it. It's an unlimited drink package I got. So, they even have alcoholic milkshakes on this boat. So yeah.
Drew's milkshake brings all the guys to the
steam yard. Whoa! What's going on here? Anyway, so yeah, we have recorded a couple episodes for you guys. Listen, we have never not done at least 3 episodes in a week. We will continue that. We've already got Monday's episode ready to go for you guys there, going over the tight ends. We have already next Thursday's episode shot for you guys, going over the defensive line. And this Wednesday, by popular demand, you guys get a full taste of the Rob Show. The Rob Show. There he is, your host, Rob, as he gives you guys on Wednesday the schedule release. That's happening Wednesday night. The rumor is about 8 p.m. He'll be on live at 9 p.m. there to go ahead and do that. As Connor is in the comments suggesting that you handle the load, and I'm not sure he's talking about the podcasting.
No, he said he can. Oh, he knows.
So yeah, like I said, guys, we're gonna be going over the NFL. We're supposed to do that tonight, actually, and they pushed it back to Wednesday. So Rob will be on there for you guys for that. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, especially on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go ahead and know exactly when we're going live. My phone goes off every time we go live, like 6 times. My phone recommends, even though I'm signed in with our YouTube, it recommends me our videos all the time because of that. So like I said, you won't miss a video if you do that, because I don't miss a video, and I'm the one who puts them up.
Well, it's because we're both on them.
It's just funny though how it recommends our own video. Like, did you like this one? Yeah, I did like doing it. These 2 giant goofballs.
2 borderline narcissists. Yeah. Like, maybe listen to myself again.
Actually, I do listen to us sometimes in the car, even, and it's not even a narcissism thing as much as I want to make sure the sound quality is right and all, make sure it comes out right.
That's what she said.
Yes, it is. Anyway, so we'll be back on. Like I said, we'll be back on for you guys there. We'll be back the following week, then regular schedule all over again with my beautiful face again gracing your presence here on live screens here. Again, the Allen Robinson episode will drop here later on tonight as well, where we talk about that signing as well. So that's going to be a YouTube exclusive. So if you haven't already, again, hit us up on YouTube, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit all that kind of stuff there. Share it to a friend as we're going to discuss that move as well. So appreciate you guys for listening in. As always, Giants fans, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
I'm so excited.
Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite,
Drew's LinkedIn.
Oh, yes, my LinkedIn profile. And of course, we're always available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms there, usually at 5 o'clock in the morning there on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, everyone pretty much known demand there. So we'll see you guys there. Oh, I'll see you guys in a week. Rob will see you guys on Wednesday, but we'll be there. And I'm sure Rob's going to be popping on to watch the episode.
I'll be
live. Answer any questions you guys have, or talk trash to Connor, or whatever is going on there. So,
probably.
Yeah, probably. I'll probably be too drunk on the boat to do it. So
I'll have a drink with you, Connor, as Drew's unresponsive to us.
Listen, I might be unresponsive in general, depending on how this trip goes. To be honest here, I'm going to be 8 days with an open bar. That's kind of a scary proposition.
You're slowly going to start falling asleep at, like, instead of like 11 at night, it's going to be 10. Then it's going to be like 9.
I won't.
It's going to be 7.
I get wired when I drink. It's bad. You know this. You saw me at my wedding.
7-day bender of nonstop drinking. Eventually, you got to pass out.
Guys. What was that?
Said eventually you got to pass out.
No, I don't. It's okay. I got the CPAP machine. Now that I go ahead and have that, it's like every hour I get is like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Go. 2 hours later. Ooh. All right, guys. We'll see you guys again later on. Appreciate you guys as always for watching. And as always, Giant fans,
go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.